Page 2, Blue Danube Waltz. It's a very famous waltz by Strauss. 3/4 time, well, it's a waltz. Waltzes are in 3/4 time. We're using the white keys pretty much, and you're moving around somewhat because there's no sharps or flats in the key signature. Let's check this out, the notes and the rhythms and the fingering first, and we'll start with the right hand. Just make sure that's working. You're starting here, and we have a broken C chord. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, rest, 1, rest, rest. And then it's an F and a G there in the second line, second measure. Hit F and it's a and then come down, bring the thumb down, it's a B. Rest. And then bring the little finger up. Now we're spreading out more. Rest. That goes like that for a while. Let's go to the top of page 3. Now it's a broken chord like we had at the beginning, except now we got to go up to here. So we extend out. It's called extended position, where we extend to the octave, because the first note in the first measure on page 3 is this C, and the first note in the next measure is this C. It's an octave out. So we extend out, and that means 2 and 3 are going to play those notes. Rest, then you claps a little bit, and it's thumb on the rest, and then bring thumb down again and stay there. Rest, bring thumb down again, and they say a 2, it's okay, you can also do a 3, but third line down, second measure, look at this, 2, 1, that's important, we want to do that. So here, and then reach up, and then 3, and thumb down. You can if you want. And rather than the third finger, this is the third line down, last measure on page 3. You're here, rather than the third finger, you can use fourth. It makes it a little easier to reach the E. And then 2. And the rhythm for the last 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And notice the fingering, 3, 2, 1. I like that. I like using different fingers on repeated notes. Now this kind of fingering will help you a lot in the future when the music gets a lot more difficult, so I encourage you to use that. In the left hand you have broken chords. C chord. In the second line, second measure, it's a 5/7 chord. I mean, normally you think 5/7 chord is here, but it's all 4 notes. We can use this note or this note, so they're using that note. That's fine. Top of page 3, you have to move up. It's a C chord, but now it's in first inversion. Second line, the F chord, and then third line, you come down here. Just reach up and move. Put the hands together. Now, when I play this note, the second beat there in the second measure, the right hand has a rest. I come up. Rest. Rest. Kind of fast. When you first put the hands together, you got to go slow, and you may hesitate all over, and that's okay. You just work it out. You're just trying to get the hands to work together. Then once you can do that, then you go back through and get rid of the hesitation, so the beat is a nice steady beat all the way through. Go as slow as you need to go, but a nice steady beat all the way through. Then once you can play the hands together, then we can add in these staccatos and stuff. I'm going to hinge at the wrist here, so and they're going to be short staccatos. Staccato makes it easier to rest because of the staccato. And if it doesn't have a staccato dot, try and connect it. Now, in my opinion, they can continue to do the staccatos for the left hand. They didn't, but I think they could have. So on the second line, first measure, when you're doing that, here, in my opinion, you can continue to do staccato on the left hand if you can. But can you connect one hand and staccato the other? Because it's not that easy to do. But if you can, go ahead and just do staccato on the left hand. If you can't, don't worry about it. Do the best you can. The whole piece is done that way. You just now, when you get down to the bottom of page 3, here, last line, you're here. Here, the staccatos kind of go away. You don't need them now. So now staccato, and not staccato, and staccato. So the last two measures, the first and last notes are staccato, the other like so. And the reason we're not doing staccato here on this part at the last line, and I would connect these. I would not separate. No, I suggest you connect both of those measures together. Now the reason we're not doing staccato here is what I'm suggesting is because of the dynamics. So once you can put in the staccatos, then we think about the dynamics. It starts out moderately loud at the beginning. The MF is mezzo forte. That's the right hand, it's the melody. Whatever you think sort of loud is. Keep the left hand soft. When you get over to page 3 toward the bottom, last couple of lines, you're starting out moderately loud. Now you're going to go up to very loud. That last line is very loud in the right hand. The left hand can go up to about a moderately loud. And because we're loud or very loud, that's why I said don't bother with the staccatos here. Just go ahead and play them out. Staccato. And those last two measures, now I want to hear the right hand. The left has to be in the background. Don't agree with that, but that's the way the music is written. That's what we'll do. Now if it's easier for you, then go ahead more or less and maintain the staccatos throughout in the left hand if you need to. On page 3, when you get down to the third line here, so I lift it up. If the last line, if it's easier, go ahead and do staccatos. But generally when it gets really, really loud, you can make them long staccato. You can lengthen the staccato just a little bit. See, not all staccatos are the same. You got real short ones and you got long ones and you got in-between ones, and it's whatever the music thinks. And that is interpreting the music. It's what do I feel is right? What sounds right here? Now, speed, allegro is fast. You can find recordings of the Blue Danube Waltz. Keep in mind, people would be dancing to this. It's a rather fast waltz, but nevertheless, they're dancing to it. Now, at the bottom of page 3, you'll see at the end of the last line there's a repeat sign to repeat the whole thing, because there's no reverse repeat sign anyway, so you just go back to the beginning and play it all again. But there's a note underneath there to play the right hand, RH is right hand, 1 octave higher on the repeat. So when you're done with the begin and you go back to the beginning to repeat, left hand stays where it is, the right hand simply goes up an octave, and it's here. Play the whole second time, the right hand is up in here. That's kind of nice. Generally when we repeat stuff in music, we like to change something. We don't want to play it twice exactly the same way. And one of the things we can change is, well, here the right hand went up. Otherwise, it would be dynamics or articulation or something that we could change in there. We'd interpret it differently on the repeat somehow. But moving the right hand up is good enough. Now a little bit about interpretation. I spoke a little bit about it on the staccatos, long staccatos or short staccatos. But here, and then these things, if you want, you can play those a little softer. Just a hair softer. See what that sounds like. And then now, that's interpretation. Music doesn't say anything, but you're not going to play the whole piece at medium loud. You can get louder and softer as you feel it. That's part of interpreting the music. You get to know it well enough that you feel it and you get into the music, play it as you feel it. Yeah. Another one would be the natural accents. In a waltz, well, with any music, the strongest natural accent is the first beat of a measure. We want that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. We want to feel it. You don't force it, you feel it. 1, 2. That means on these, the second one has a little more stress than the first one. Bum, 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 because of the natural accent. And so make sure you're feeling these natural accents, and that's with anything you play, you want to do that. But again, it's kind of important. I like to play it with you very slowly to double check all the notes and rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics, but I will do the staccatos and all. And we're going to play it twice, and I will move the right hand up the second time. So I'll give us 3 counts. So let's just go over it very slowly together. Even one hand at a time if you need to. 1, ready, go. Two. Rest, repeat. Bye.